What if you're the guy at the gym and you're the dominant bully and you win all the time at the gym, but you've never ever learned how to counter wrestle, and then you go to a tournament and there's a guy who's tougher than you? It's no good. I kept telling a lot of people to do. Well, anybody who heard me?
Stand up.
What? Who said that?
Stand up.
Yeah, everybody said that. You guys, you have accepted a premise and you're not even aware of it. And the premise is that you have to stay on the ground. This is three-dimensional. So what do they say? They say fights are won on the ground, right? But Carl would say bulls are killed on the floor. So if you're at a disadvantage, wouldn't that mean get the fuck off the floor? You have to. You have to remember that. I use this analogy all the time. Carl and Billy would say there was 3 phases to wrestling. There's standing, there's on top, and underneath. Standing is neutral. You're even. When you're on top, you have the advantage. And when you're underneath, you have the disadvantage. So what does that say if you're underneath? You need to get to one of the other two. Preferably to an advantage. That's why we teach reversals. Right? So we saw some crazy reversals, people arm rolling, flipping people, and all of a sudden the whole match changes. The person who was winning is now all of a sudden on the bottom. Super exciting. But that's how you win. But if you can't reverse, you at least want to get out of a disadvantage into equal footing again. And that's the standing. That's why coaches are always telling you to stand up. Okay? So the first thing that you have to remember, if you're in a disadvantaged position, especially if they're behind you, is to get wrist control. That should be your first thing. Because a lot of the submissions take 2 hands to work. So get wrist control. Then you have a little time to think and gather yourself. And then the next thing is to really think about either standing or reversing once you have control of an arm or a wrist. Typically you want 2-on-1 control because 2 hands are stronger than 1 hand. So I'm going to use that. Now I have an advantage. Right? So, stand up. The rest of today, I want you guys to learn how to get out of disadvantaged positions and either get to neutral or to reverse. Because I think that is very, very lacking. Okay? You guys you did great, and I praised you all, but I'd be doing you a disservice if I didn't tell you where there was a lot of room for growth. Okay? You guys have an enormous opportunity to truly expand and shrink your ignorance on grappling by learning how to actually reverse, counter, or just get up and stand up the proper way. Okay? So the rest of this camp is going to be on how do I do that. When I'm at a disadvantage, how do I get to either neutral or how do I get to an advantage? Fair?
Yes, Coach.
So I want everybody to attack this with as much gusto because this is the most important part of winning is not losing first. That's the base assumption. Like, I can't lose. Once you can't lose, then you can wrestle. You see so many people right now, and it's sad. They wrestle not to lose. They're not wrestling to win. They're wrestling not to lose. That's like beginner shit. That's where you got to have your base, is wrestle, like learn how not to lose. Then on top of that, you add the wrestling to win. That way it's not a gamble. Now you've really increased your chances of winning because you know you're not going to lose. And now you've got to add all the tricks on how to beat the guy.